After all those months, actually more than a year, seeing all your smiling faces on Zoom, it's so nice to be in person, but now we see your masked faces instead of your smiling faces. Life is just strange, but it's wonderful. I know and I know. Shabbat Shalom. My and I know. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. My fire. Shabbat Shalom. My fire. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Sorry, Kiva Ore Kumi Ori Uri Uri Kirdaberi Kevoda Donai Alayich Nigla Lechado Dili Katkala Yalala 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 Ne Shabbat Ne Kabbalah Vechadodi katkala yalala 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 ne Shabbat nekabela ve'ayulim shisa she'osayir v'rachaku kol mavalayich yasis alayich Elohayich Kimsos Chatan al Kala Lechadodi likrat kala yalala 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 say Shabbat nekabela Lechadodi likrat kala yalala 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 say Shabbat nekabela Boi v'shalom ateret v'ala gam b'simcha u'b'tzola toch emunei am segula boi chala lechadodi likrat kala yalala 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 nei Shabbat nekabela lechadodi likrat kala yalala 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 say Shabbat nekabela. Remain standing if you are standing with Baruch Hu in the middle of the middle column on page 1. La 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Baruch Hu et Adonai Mivo Adonai Mevorach Mevorach Leolam Ba'el Mevorach Mevorach Leolam Ba'el. Please be seated. So Baruch Hu calls us to community. It says, come, let us join together in community to offer our praise to the one who is blessed. So I want to welcome, in addition to those who are here with us in person, I want to welcome everybody who is with us virtually. And just to note, we're just live streaming this week. There's no interaction. We are working. Next week we'll be up on Zoom so that if you are watching, you'll be able to chat. You won't be able to talk back and forth with me. I am not capable of doing that many things at the same time, but you will be able to talk in the chat with one another. Ma'ariv Aravim, we give thanks for the blessing of light and darkness, for the changing of times and seasons, for the beauty of the ongoing work of creation. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher bidbaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma potach she'arim, u'bitbuna meshana itim u'machalif et hazmanim, מסדר את הכוכבים במשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו, בורא יום ולילה גולל אור מפני חושך וחושך מפני אור, ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב הרבים. Praised are you who lights the twilight. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amcha Torahu mitzvot chukim mishpatim otanu limadetam. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu shokbeinu vekumeinu Nasiach bechukecha ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה. ואהבתך תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Bottom of the left side of page 1. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadavarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha ולכתך בדרך, ושוכבך וקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך, ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמן. Right, top right of page 2. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? Malchutecha Ramanecha Bokei Ayam Mipnei Moshe uMiriam Eli Anu ve'amru Adonai Hayim lo leolam ba'ed. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom, these songs of freedom, redemption song. Ashkivenu, a prayer for peace, for shelter, for kindness and compassion on the bottom of the right side of sheet 2.
Shelter always beneath thy wings. Oh, I will guard us from all harm things. Oh, I will keep us safe throughout the night. Till we wake with the morning sun. Teach us to be wrong to right. Oh, I will
Middle of page 2, middle column. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Beni uvein b'nei Yisrael, od hi leolam, Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat, lidorotam berit olam. Yisheshet yamim asadonai, et hashamayim v'et haaretz vishamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat lasot et hashabat lidorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat, lidorotam berit olam. We rise as able for tefillah beginning in the middle of page 2. Sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatech. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Vanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Bekonei Hakol, Bezocher Chastei Avot Bimahot, Umevi Gula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer Moshe, oh my God. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ufokei Sarah. Atagi Borle Alamadai Mechaye Metimata Lehoshia Morid Hatam Mechokel Chaim Bechasad Mechaye Metim Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Berofech Olim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afraham Micha Mocha Bal Gevurot Umido Mehelah Melech Memid Umechayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua Yamanat Halachayot Metim Baruch Atah Adonai Mechayeh HaMetim Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh V'Kadoshim B'chol Yom Yehalalu Chatzava Baruch Atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Take a few moments to continue silently the rest of this column and the right column on page 3, the Hebrew, the English, or your own heart's private prayers and meditation.
Shalom, Alleluia, Kol Yisrael, Amen. Say shalom, shalom, Roma. Hallelujah, say shalom. Amen. Israel,
So we say Modim Anachnu Lach. We give thanks for our blessings that we enjoy in our lives. I invite anybody who has anything that they are feeling especially thankful for, big milestones or small but meaningful things along the way this week. Anybody want to share? So, so beautiful to see you and to see all of us here. And all of us who are watching too. Debbie. So all right. So you're now a PhD student, right? Mazel tov. Uh, Aya said she's thankful for all the help from the chicken soup group, and you can others. Anything? Petra? Mazel tov. Yeah. I guess Dorothy. Beautiful. And I'm thankful my daughter Rosa, who was supposed to visit like in February, January, finally made it in from Tel Aviv, and we went out. We took a day and went out paddling yesterday, and we both had a little swim. So I'm thankful we're both safe and sound and all good to go. For all that we celebrate in our lives, we say Modimanach Nulach. We give thanks to you, Eternal One, Creator and Sustainer and Source of life. May we go from strength to strength, and may we offer our abundant blessings, our abundant thanks for your gifts along the way. And let us say Amen. Yishaberach, a prayer for healing. Again, I invite if you are watching online, send us your good thoughts, and we'll keep your folks, in our thoughts. If you're here, I invite you to share names of people who you are holding in prayers for healing. Ready? Sam? Molly? Matt? Hi. I had Billy Gans, who was in a bike accident and in St. Al's, recovering. So for these and for all who we are holding on our prayers at this time, on the bottom corner of page 3. Misha Be'erach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength to bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Be'erach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. So this is a time in the season when we are in real need of healing. We are facing the raging resurgence of a pandemic that need not have been. A crisis of our own making, born of our societal dysfunction and human folly. Here in Idaho, we are charting a course for disaster, with the state's largest school system refusing to mandate masks, and the newly appointed hack serving as medical advisor to Central District Health. But why are we in this place? And how might we extricate ourselves from it? We would do well to start with a seemingly esoteric law from this week's Torah portion, Ki Tetzeh. Deuteronomy 22, verse 4 teaches, when you build a new house, you shall make a parapet for your roof, so that you do not bring blood guilt on your household, lest someone else fall from it. So what does a biblical parapet have to do with our pandemic? By way of background, you have to understand that in the ancient Middle East, and still often today, homes were built with flat roofs. And children would often go up on the roof to play during the day. The Torah is telling us in this verse that it is the homeowner's responsibility to place that parapet, a fence or a guardrail, as it were, completely around the roof to prevent others from accidentally falling off. Because, Torah tells us, it is our responsibility to see that our actions and our choices do not bring harm to others. Contrast that with the public officials who are currently suggesting that vaccination or even wearing a mask should be, in the words of Senator Ron Johnson, a personal and private decision. Jamel Bowie wrote an article in the New York Times this week called, "If you skip the vaccine, it is my damn business." He wrote, Johnson and the others are wrong. Wearing a helmet while bike riding, strapping on your seatbelt in a car, these are personal decisions, at least as far as your own injuries are concerned. Vaccination is different. In the context of a deadly and often debilitating contagion, in which the unchecked spread of infection has consequences for the entire society, vaccination is not a personal decision. And then, as much as the United States has struggled to achieve herd immunity against COVID-19 through vaccination, it is because we treat the pandemic, we have refused to treat the pandemic for what it truly is, a social problem to be solved through collective action. Our tradition is all about collective action, about looking at problems through the lens of covenant, of community. Our sacred texts consistently teach that unbound personal freedom without responsibility is a recipe for greed, narcissism, and cruelty. For us as Jews, freedom is not necessarily a virtue in and of itself. It is a virtue only when it is coupled with communal concern, because everything that we do affects everybody around us. So while there are plenty out there who would be jumping up now to defend the rights of those who refuse to erect their parapets, Torah doesn't work that way. Torah tells us you have to build your parapet because, as legal philosopher Zechariah Chafee noted in 1919, your right to swing your arms ends where your neighbor's nose begins. That's how it is with parapets. And that's how it is with viruses. And that is why most rabbinic authorities today insist there is a halachic obligation, a Jewish legal mandate to mask and get vaccinated. It's not just a good thing to do, it's a mitzvah. And to fail to do so, to fail to observe that mitzvah, is to stand idly by while our neighbors bleed. If we want to move forward as a state, as a community, as a nation, we have to learn to recognize and live with this truth that we are all responsible for one another. My parapet protects you. Your parapet protects me. Judaism is adamantly opposed to me with my right to do whatever I want. Such freedom is cruel. Rather, it calls us to follow what our nation in America and our founding documents we refer to as we the people, concerned about and caring for one another. We must use the power of ethics and morality and standing strong to reject the nihilists who would take wrecking balls to our parapets. Our future depends upon our capacity to restore and celebrate a strong sense of the common good. It starts with each of us here and now. May this be God's will. Aleinu in the middle of side 3 on your sheets. You rise as able. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol latei kedula liotzer b'reishit shelo asanu kogei haratzot velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama shelo sam chelkenu kahem v'goralenu kecho hamonam v'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu Notes Shamayim V'Yosed Haaretz Umoshav Yekaro B'Shamayim Mima'al Ushchinatu Zo V'Govei Merahomim Hu Eloheinu Einod Emet Malkeinu Efesulato Kakahatu Betorato Biadata Hayom Vashevota Elavavecha Ki Adonai Hu HaElohim Bashamayim Mima'al Bial Haaretz Mitakat Einod V'nemar v'haya Adonai L'melech al kol haaretz V'yom hahu yeh Adonai echad U'shemo Seated. We think of our loved ones, of all those who death has taken from us. We think of those who have died at this season in years past, of those we have drawn into our hearts together with our own. Invite any who are here with us to share names of folks you are keeping in mind for Kaddish this Shabbat. Yeah. Dorothy. Zikronam Levracha, may their memories and the memories of all those who we are holding in our hearts here and those watching virtually, may their memories all be for an abiding blessing. Recalling them, I invite the mourners and all whose custom it is to rise from mourner's cottage, bottom left of sheet 3. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah. V'yalma divrach yirateh v'yamlich malchuteh. V'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayeh d'chol beit Yisrael. V'hagalah v'zman kariv v'yamru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam lo me'omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. Yitadar, Yitalev, Yitalal, Shemeda Kudsha, Berichu, Leila, Minkol, Birchata, Vashirata, Tushbachata, Venechamata, Ta'amiran, Bialma, Biamru, Amen. Yehe Shalom, Arab, Amin Shemaya, Bechayim, Alenu, Bialkol Yisrael, Biamru, Amen. Osei Shalom, Imromav, Huya, Asei Shalom, Alenu, Bialkol Yisrael, Biamru, Amen. And the one who makes peace on high, let peace descend on us, on all Israel, and all the world. May comfort be with all who mourn, and let us say, Amen. By way of announcements, tomorrow morning, per usual, we'll be back out here, 10 o'clock for our Shabbat morning service. You should be getting word if you haven't. It'll be out in the email blast next week, and also you'll get a card. As it stands now, and we're taking every day, one day at a time. But as things stand now, the plan is for the fall holidays, for the days of awe, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. We're going to need to limit the numbers. We don't have the capacity to keep everybody safely, so there will be a sign up. You'll be able to indicate a first and second choice. It'll all be pretty self-explanatory. So keep your eye on your inbox for information on the days of awe coming up. We're going to close with the Don Olam. It's on page 4 on the right-hand side. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Ko Yitzir Nivra V'ein Nasa V'chefsa Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'yam Tarek Yichlot HaKol V'vado Yimlo Nora Vehu Haya Vehu Hoda Vehu Yiyah Betifara Vehu Yiyah Betifara Vehu Echad De'en Sheni V'ham Shilo V'hafira Beli Reshit, Beli Tachli, Velo Haos, Veha Misra, Velo Haos, Veha Misra, Vehu Eli, Vechai Goali, Vesor Chevli, Ve'etzara, Vehu Nisi, Manosli, Minat Kosi, Beyom Ekra, Minat Kosi, Beyom Ekra, Beyado Afi Rufi, Be'edishan, Be'ahira, Be'imrufi, Givigadi, Adonai Li, Velo Iran, Adonai Li, Velo Iran. Shabbat Shalom. And special thanks to Stephen Petra for our music tonight. And to Shelley and Tamara on our sound.